Hello, welcome to our talk on divisibility rules, how to figure out if any number is divisible by an integer between 2 and 10. So let's get started. So of course we get started with the number 2, and the rule for number 2 is very easy. Does the number end in a digit that is either 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? We take a look at 128. It ends in an 8, so that means it is divisible by 2. 129, though, ends in a 9. That's not one of our key numbers, so 129 is not divisible by 2. We move on to 3. Now, the rule for 3 is pretty simple once you get used to it. You take all the digits in the number and add them together. For 381, we add 3 plus 8 plus 1, and that equals 12. 12 is a number that has 3 as a factor. It is divisible by 3, so that means 381 is divisible by 3. 217, 2 plus 1 plus 7 equals 10. That is not divisible by 3. 3 is not a factor of 10, so 217 is not divisible by 3. To determine if a number is divisible by 4, we have to simply look at the last two digits. With 1,312, the last two digits are 1 and 2, then that makes 12. Is 12 divisible by 4? In other words, does 12 have 4 as a factor? Yes. So that means 1,312 is divisible by 4. Now we take 7,019. Last two digits are 1 and 9. That makes 19. Is 4 a factor of 19? In other words, is 19 divisible by 4? No, it's not. So that means 7,019 is not divisible by 4. To determine if a number is divisible by 5 is very simple. We simply look at the last digits, and we are looking for either a 5 or a 0. That's it. 175 does end in a 5, so it is divisible by 5. 809 does not end in a 5 or a 0, so it is not divisible by 5. The rule for finding out if a number is divisible by 6 is a little bit more complicated. So what we have to do for this is check each number to see if it is divisible by both 2 and 3. It has to be divisible by both 2 and 3, not just one or the other. For example, the two numbers that we have here are both even numbers. They both end in even numbers, so they are both divisible by 2. That's half of what we're looking for. But they also have to be divisible by 3 in order to be divisible by 6. So I look and I say 1 plus 1 plus 4, that equals 6. Is 6 divisible by 3? Yes. So 114 meets the rule for 2 and 3. So that means 114 is divisible by 6. Now here I'm going to add 3 plus 0 plus 8, and I get 11. 11 is not divisible by 3, and while 308 does meet the rule for 2, it doesn't meet the rule for 3, and so no, it is not divisible by 6. Okay, the rule for 7 is a bit of a mouthful. First, we have to look at the last digit. The last digit here is 2. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to double that. So that becomes 4. Okay? And then we take that number and then subtract it by the other digits. So we subtract 4 from 67, and we get 63. And is 63 divisible by 7? Yes, 7 is a factor of 63. So that means 672 is divisible by 7. Now, let's move on to 8. How do we figure out if a number is divisible by 8? Well, to do that, we need to look at the last 3 digits of the number. And we simply ask ourselves, are those last 3 digits divisible by 8? So we take 104, and 104 divided by 8 equals 13. So it is divisible by 8. So that means 109,104 is divisible by 8. The rule for determining if a number is divisible by 9 is very similar to determining if the number is divisible by 3. You first just add up the digits. 1 plus 6 plus 2 plus 9, that's 7 plus 9 plus 9 equals 18. Only this time we're going to ask ourselves, is 18 divisible by 9? Yes, it is. 9 is a factor of 18, so that means 1,629 is divisible by 9. Now let's look at 2013. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 3. That gives me 6. So, is 6 divisible by 9? Of course not. 9 is not a factor of 6. So, 2013 is not divisible by 9. And probably one of the easiest of all is determining if a number is divisible by 10. And there's only one number we need to look for, and that is a 0 in the last digit in the ones place. So we look at the ones place of 220, 221. There is a 0 in 220 at the end of 220, so that is divisible by 10. The ones place of 221 does not have a 0, so no, that is not divisible by 10.